Cheyenne.
Hi, Scott.
It's so good to see you again.
Thank you.
Well, we just have to keep getting together like this.
I know. I would love it. We should do this every Tuesday.
By the way, let's plan on it.
Okay.
And today we're so fortunate to be joined by our grant winners.
Hey guys, ladies in the house.
And I feel like, given the apparel here, the all black, like we need to form a rock band.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, we should take some time here to go around and introduce our grant winners. But before we do that, we will thank you all for coming. Like this is, I know you're busy getting ready for the show on Saturday, so for you to come and sit down, we really appreciate it. We have Jessie Noguchi.
Yes. Thank you.
We have Margarita Color.
It's just Marguerite.
Marguerite Color, excuse me.
It's Kurdish.
Calhor. I love it.
Fantastic. We have Monica Leal Cueva. And we have Juliana Bustillo.
Yes.
Hi.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Are you going to forgive me for butchering those names? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What do you expect from a white guy who went to public school here in America? Come on.
My mom confuses our siblings' names all the time. It's cool.
Well, if mom fucks up, I guess, it's okay. Okay, for a stranger. Yeah. So I'm so grateful to have you guys here because you are the inaugural class recipients of the Not Real Art grant, which was received back in March at the conference. Mm-hmm. What was it like getting the news that you had received the grant, Jessie?
I was like, oh my God, I just started painting probably less than 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I've been seen, heard, and like totally like approved. So I was very excited.
That's fantastic.
Is this your first grant that you've applied for?
Yeah.
Nice. We love that.
Marguerite, what was it like?
I was pretty stoked.
Stoked.
Yeah. Got that email and I was...
Cha-ching!
Yes. I had applied to a bunch of things and hadn't really heard back from anyone, and then I heard back from this, and I was pretty happy about it.
Right on. Monica?
I was pretty surprised because I applied like the last hour of the last day. And I was in
Just
Puerto
in under
Rico.
the wire.
Yeah, I was in Puerto Rico with my parents when I applied. And I was just like, okay, I got the email, there's this chance, let's just do it. And I did it, and I really didn't think it was gonna work. And then I got the email while I was at work, and it was really, really great because I had just been sort of put down by someone in the industry. And so to get this and be like, yep, and then label Not Real Art, it was perfect.
Fuck the establishment.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's what Not Real Art is all about.
Right.
That's, So, what was it like?
I opened the email and I was just like, oh shit. And I was like, it's $1,000. And the first thing I was just like, what do I need? What am I gonna buy? I was thinking of like the canvases and everything.
So what did you end up buying?
I bought a bunch of stuff. I actually one of the paintings in the show, the biggest one, I was able to do a big painting because of the money.
Nice.
So that painting pretty much got funded by the grant.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. Jessie, what'd you do with the money? Did you go to Vegas? What'd you?
No, but I took honestly, I took my mom to be here.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, but I'm supposed to buy material, right? So awesome.
Well, but
But yeah, I took her here and then show around, and she helped me to hang my paintings. So.
Well, I think
Worked out great,
that's beautiful. I think the parlance or the sort of the way we talk about this stuff. It's like, well, these grants are meant to further the practice of these artists,
Yeah.
and that word practice. That's defined by the artist, and if that means you want your family nearby, then God damn it, that's how you should use the money.
Like the needs that emerging artists have are so they're intangible, they're tangible, they're everything from rent to food on the table to going out to eat, treating yourself, to getting a new pair of shoes, to getting canvas. The needs are life.
Yes.
And to be able to get $1,000 of free money, so you don't owe us anything. You don't have to learn to do a back bend or a walkover for us. Like, it's free money for you to do what you want.
No
And I
strings
think-
attached.
No
yeah,
strings attached.
I think that's what I was just telling everyone. Was like, guys, I didn't ask for anything. I didn't even give them a painting, guys. Like, they just gave me $1,000, and it was great. But
So-
yeah, a lot of art materials. And I remember I actually took out a school loan because I actually went to like painting school. I have a bachelor's painting and drawing, and like that was $500, took care of like a third of it, and I was just like, oh shit.
Oh, that's amazing. So, the Not Real Art Grant is our first foray into the grant game. So you have to educate me a little bit. Do grants typically come, and Cheyenne, I know you have a lot of experience in this, do grants typically come with strings attached?
Kind of.
Yeah?
Like, I think of like residencies a lot, you know, where you have to dedicate this, like, either it's like a whole year, and then you have to go to meetings, you have to, put in time, you have to meet all these people, you have to go to all these events, and you're just kind of like, damn, man, like, was it really worth it sometimes?
Yeah,
You
and
know?
sometimes they're giving you, let's say, $5,000, but the amount of time you're putting in, it starts to not
Or
balance.
sometimes it kind of screws with you because you're kind of like, man, we really don't share the same values here. Like, what the hell is going on?
That's a good point.
That's the
Yeah.
one that gets to me sometimes. And I'm just kind of like, never mind. I'm just gonna mind my own business.
Well, this is a really powerful point, actually, because I just wonder to what extent these grants are truly artist-centric. I mean, are the grants meant to be more sort of self-serving? I don't know. I'm just asking the question. I know our motivation from day one was all about celebrating and elevating you, the artist, and helping to empower your work and your career, however you define it. I couldn't imagine putting strings, attaching strings to the grant. But
Yeah, like imagine having to be nice to someone you don't like. You're just like, fuck, man.
my wife does it every day.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's what you're doing to us, Julie.
No, I'm not, because I've
Exactly.
actually like been coming back. I've done
I
a bunch of
know.
stuff with Art
Yeah,
Chalet.
Julianne has hung with us twice already, and this will be her third show.
Yeah.
And her first show with us, she sold one of her highest priced pieces. Is that right?
No, not the highest price
Okay.
pieces. The first show that I was here, one of the, oh my God, I forgot his name. I feel so bad. But I think he's one of the board of directors at Art Chalet bought the painting.
Oh, great.
DJ.
DJ Sandler.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. But yeah, that was it was the first time I actually sold a painting too. And to know that it was like I was like, oh my God, it's like Art Chalet bought the painting. Thanks, guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just, it's so tough to be an artist anyway.
Yeah.
Why make it tougher? The grant should not make it tougher. The grant should make it easier to be an artist.
But the grantor is looking for something, right? They're
Sure.
going to give some money, and they want their name to be
Yep.
elevated.
Yep.
And they want to make sure that their money is doing something.
Right.
So that doing something can be translated in a piece of work or some sort of numbers, like I was able to paint this many times because of your money. So they're looking for quantifiable numbers so that they can justify the need and the want to give money over and over. And they don't want to just throw it away. They want to make sure that there's a value added.
Yes.
But I think where they go wrong is the value added becomes counterintuitive to what they're doing, and they're looking at the numbers in the spreadsheets more than they're getting to know the artist and kind of what they're trying to convey.
Right.
So
Where's the humanity?
I know.
Well, so what are the more coveted art grants out there?
Yeah, do you guys apply for grants often?
I don't. I've never.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
haven't.
You're
Yeah.
a virgin for us.
First time.
I mean, I've heard of like residencies, like as a painter, you hear about like the Joan Mitchell grant, and you're just like, oh my God, like if I get that one day, like I'm in, I did it. That means like I did something. And then you hear about like those big names, like Rauschenberg one, and you're just like, oh my God, like that one sounds amazing because like what he stands for. But then at the same time, you're like, why am I so into this? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it becomes a status game
Yeah.
versus an actual accomplishment of your practice, I think. And you guys are at the part of your career where it's really just about work.
Yeah.
You need to produce work to justify and figure out your vision. How many of you are still kind of figuring out your series and figuring out who you are as a painter? Yeah.
Yeah, me
Jesse
too.
just started 2 years ago.
Yeah, Jesse, talk through your process of the 2 years and how you got here.
Right. I started painting because I was in Japan taking care of my grandma. She had a stroke, and then she told me, "You are the one like who always dream about what you want to do, even when you are in the coffin, in the grave, So I'm always dream about it, but not doing anything." So she said, "Just express yourself and then show it to the world."
Wow.
So okay, I don't have any education, art education, so but I just started. But painting is probably the one of the easiest. You need a paper or a canvas and just do whatever. So so I did abstract and then later digital. So I can't just stick on the one style. So I feel bad about it. Like, okay, I feel like who am I? Digital artist, but when I do digital, doesn't seem like a real art. So also abstract makes me really happy, but I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm always like questioning myself. So
And I think because you're at the beginning stages of your career and the ability to kind of find the inner voice and express yourself onto canvas, I think it's okay to dabble and do a lot of different mediums. I think that's what you would have done in school, right? Like you would have taken a digital class, you would have taken a abstract class, theory. So you're just doing that on your own time, maybe?
yeah,
And
that's
your
right.
voice.
Yeah.
Well, it's finding your voice, right? Like
Right,
that's what
exactly.
you're searching for, right?
Exactly. Oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
Let's try this.
Yeah.
And I feel more comfortable with this. So like, each time I questioning myself, discovering, and I know what I'm comfortable with, and I want to, I figured out what I want to challenge to. So kind of like little by little, I know who I want to be.
Yeah, you're refining it.
Yeah.
How about you? You're moving a lot. You have something to say.
I'm kind of stuck right now.
Yeah.
Work-wise, I've been probably making art seriously since I was, in my teens. And
Such an old lady.
I am an old lady.
Yeah.
A whopping 25.
I know.
32.
You look amazing for your age.
Thanks. So my work it's definitely related to the environment that I'm in, and right now I'm working in the movie industry, and it's being in a creative field and being creative is super difficult, like being creative on my own time. So like I'm trying to find a direction and like a new way of expressing myself without fitting into the tropes of the industry that I'm in.
Are you finding yourself creatively exhausted when you
Yeah.
come home? Yeah.
But every so often there will be a wacky moment where I'll just want to spew something out on a piece of paper or make a wacky video about it, and it happens.
Love it. Monica, do you have anything to add to that? Finding your voice?
I think right now is the closest I've been to being myself, like feeling comfortable doing what I'm doing. It took me a while. I started maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, and I started with collage and then mixed media, and then I moved into photography and digital compositions.
Okay.
And I feel comfortable with what I'm doing. I used to be very self-conscious, especially about the subject matter. But right now, with everything that's happening and the fact that I'm able to do this every week, because every weekend I get to work on my stuff, then I'm good.
I love that word, comfortable.
Yeah.
You don't hear that from artists very often.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this in the last show, that artists and humans, we're very self-critical, and we love to second guess ourselves and second guess our work. So in order to feel comfortable, have you guys felt comfortable in your creation? Does that word resonate with you?
Yeah, like for me, I have like my studio. That's my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I go in there and like it's mine. Like nothing's gonna happen, and nothing is going to happen there that I don't allow it to happen.
Yeah.
You just kind of control time, and it's just nice. You know, you go in there, and when you get those moments when you find yourself working, and then you kind of zone out, and then you like come back and you're like, oh my God, it's been like 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, okay, it's good.
It feels good.
But can I add?
Yeah, please.
But I feel like I need to suffer. I feel that if I don't suffer, I feel a little guilty. I don't know. It's always like a balance.
Yeah, I often tell, at ArtShare we work with a lot of performers, and right before they go on stage I see them do their rituals of pacing or panicking, and I kind of feel like it's okay to have a certain level of panic because then you put it all out there.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes when I'm performing or doing something that's creative, if I'm not nervous the day before, then it's gonna suck,
100%.
right?
100%.
Like you have to kind of,
I've been explaining that to my daughter because she's starting to perform now
Yeah.
at 7. You know, she loves her little, she studies theater and what have you.
Cute.
And she was telling me before her performance the other day, like she was nervous and she was scared. And I said, that's a good thing,
that's good.
you know?
Embrace it.
Yeah.
If that feeling goes away, then you're in the wrong place.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Cool.
Well, you know, being an artist is it's sort of a blessing and a curse, right? Because on a certain level, it's a calling. Like I don't know that it's a choice. I mean, did you have a choice? Could you have been an engineer, an accountant? No.
Probably. I'm not like probably.
Probably. You'd be
Yeah.
anything you want to be.
Yeah, but this is just kind of like I can't help it.
But there are things about being an artist, being a professional artist, right, that we must do that has nothing to do with being creative. It's more about running a small business, you know, making sure you're collecting on your invoices and, oh, by the way, sending the invoices out to begin with, you know, following up on your social media feed, you know, getting out and doing networking. I mean, what are some of the things that you struggle with in terms of your business as an artist?
I mean, I guess I used to think about that, but recently I had like a sit down with a teacher. We were talking about that, like what kind of artist are you? What kind of artist do you want to be? And I was like, well, I don't want to do the business side. And he was like, well, there's 2 kinds of artists. There's like that, what is it, like the scholar? You know, you go to school, you do these things, you go to grad school, you teach, you're about the institution, like you can have your say about it, but in order for you to change it, you kind of have to participate and play the game. Or you can be the business artist, the one with the assistants, the one with the invoices, the one that's always like trying to produce something, produce the same thing over and over again, volumes. And I'm like, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the other thing. I'm interested in finding a way to make my art be part of my, like, literally every day, everything I do, you know, like you give back and you receive. Through that, you know, like if you teach, you get to meet other artists. You kind of like stay in the game, you know?
I feel like there's also another type of artist. Well, wouldn't be a professional one, I guess, but it's the one that just creates and doesn't really get out there too much. It's just he or she just does it for themselves.
Yes.
And there's many of those, and then eventually sometimes, you know, someone discovers them and they get to be someone, but that's another option.
Is it possible to be a professional artist and not be paid for your art?
Yeah.
I guess I mean, by definition, you wouldn't be a professional artist, but I think you have to really ask yourself, what is it that you want to do? Do you want to, because I do that, I ask myself, do I want to be in this game that can maybe sometimes cut through your soul? Or do you want to just keep doing what you're doing?
Yes.
And yes, maybe there won't be a reward, accept the fact that you're doing what you love. So I feel like we shouldn't be confusing being an artist with getting paid or
Yes.
getting some sort of
Yes.
reward, because being an artist is just doing what you want to do.
Yes.
So yeah, the rest is like added bonus.
You're right, right. Yeah, no, look, I think we were saying, Marguerite, you're 25, is that what we were saying?
I'm 86.
So, okay. Well, I'm not. I'm 49, right? So I remember back, in the 80s, 90s, what have you, there was a real wall between fine art and commercial art, right? There's like a brick wall. And over the last 25, 30 years, I've seen that wall erode away, primarily because of technology. And so there's this blurring of where does fine art start and stop and commercial art start and stop. And Monica, I take your point, because I know so many amazing artists who have full-time jobs doing other things, and they come home and work in their studio at home, in their garage, building beautiful things, creating beautiful things, and they don't have one iota of interest to monetize that. It's for their soul, it's for their therapy, it's for their own edification. And so I take your point. I think that's right, and that's important to point out.
Yeah, I believe so. These are things that I think everybody should ask themselves.
Yes.
Because you can fall. There's people that know how to manage themselves really well. They know how to network. They know how to handle money. They can do that. And then there's others that they're not good at that, and they force themselves to be in that game. And so you can have what you want, but you have to be clear about what you want.
Determining what you want,
Exactly.
knowing what you want.
Yeah.
What do you
So
want, Monica?
I'm still determining that, but I'm not really stressed out about it. I know that it's very unlikely to be one of the lucky ones that really get to live off of their art only.
Yes.
And so I know that, but that doesn't stress me out. All I want to do is to have the means to keep continuing doing the artwork. I'll find a way to put it out into the world, whether it's through social media only, or whether it's to find opportunities like this one, or shows somewhere else. I'll find a way, but I think my main concern is to be able to keep doing what I'm doing, That's what I want for the moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because there's a fine line between success and being able to be successful. So if your work is not that great, but you're really good at marketing, getting yourself out there and talking to the right people and
Exactly.
networking and knowing the right people, they're finding success. Does that bother you at all, saying what you just said?
I think it used to, because you see things out there that you don't consider that maybe they're worthy of all that success. But at the same time, who are you to say that? Like, who are you to say what's worth it and what's not? There's so much work out there, especially with Instagram. It's just, and people love it. People love the best and the worst. There's audience for everyone. So I think it used to bother me, but not anymore. It's all about what I really want to do. If I want to get good at marketing, then I'll learn how to be good at marketing, and if I enjoy it, I might do it. But I personally don't like it. So it's almost like, I would rather be out there taking photos and spending my time doing that than devoting myself to how to promote certain things. I may change my mind, by the way, but right now that's my mentality.
No, you cannot. I'm sorry. This is it. It's on tape. The whole world knows.
You're right.
Marguerite, you talked a little bit about some of the challenges you have because you work in the movie business, right?
Yeah.
And entertainment here in Hollywood, and yet you're an artist as well. So it sounds like you have, you sort of probably pay the bills with your gig. And then you have the art as sort of, therapy and spiritual food, what have you. Talk a little bit about the challenge, because you were saying that sometimes it's hard being a working in the creative industries and then being an artist?
Well, before I moved down here, I went to UC Santa Cruz for grad school, and it seems like the academic environment was a lot better at kind of, it was a better environment for me to work in, and I was way more prolific than this other life that I have. So, yeah, I'm tired most of the time.
So it's almost like it's hard to be creative, it's hard to be productive artistically if you're physically exhausted, mentally exhausted.
And I'm using the email skills that you learn in grad school, because grad school is a really great place to learn how to write an email.
For $100,000?
So you're using your brain. I'm able to use my brain in a way that I never thought I could before, but that kind of is killing the creative side of my brain. So I don't know what
There's a lot there to unpack. I wish we had more time because there's a lot going on with Marguerite. Do you regret getting your, is it MFA?
Yeah.
Do you regret getting your MFA?
No, MFAs are amazing. So UC Santa Cruz is cool. It's a research institution. And I got my BA in art practice, so it doesn't really teach you how to like hone any technical skills. It kind of teaches you how to be a better person and like analyze the world in a totally different way.
Mm-hmm.
And then going back in the workforce, you're kind of analyzing everyone that you're working with.
But you're pretty lucky because a lot of artists don't have jobs in the creative field, right? They have to do a 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday that doesn't connect to their creation. And I think with ArtShare and the artists that I get to meet, they're all emerging, they're all kind of up and coming, and they're trying to figure out how to not let their creativity die in those jobs. And I'm always telling them, look for a job that will see your creativity as a benefit, as something that will add to it. So do you feel that you're tapping into different parts of your creativity that you wouldn't if you were just doing art on your own or in your own studio? And what do you do?
I'm a puppeteer.
This is great.
That's
Good to know.
But I work in the office sometimes at this puppet place. Let's see. I'm looking at I'm understanding more big picture kind of things than like minutia of like a series of work. And so my experience is like kind of slowly growing, and I will be able to make something that is cohesive, I think. But for now, it's just like doodles and like small sketchy moments.
Great.
Small, sketchy moments.
Yes.
I'm just letting that hang for a minute because that's poetic, actually, I think. Monica, I'm curious, how do you find community? And Juliana, I want to, as an artist, I mean, so much of it's a lonely profession sometimes. You're in the studio working with your art. I mean, how do you guys find community?
So I actually work with artists, but even there's a lonely aspect. I'm in the background of the studio, the artists are in another spot, and so I get to talk to them, but what I do is I do these zine fests. I don't know if you know what they are, but people do their own publications and their own promotional materials, and then you go and you sell them there, and it's a great way to meet people.
It's a zine fest.
It's a zine fest.
Okay, so what's the website? I want to make sure our viewers know how to find
there's many.
it.
There's like one in LA, one in Long Beach, there's one per city.
Okay.
What you do is you as an artist, you sign up, you apply. You should have your own publications because that's what you're gonna apply with. And then they accept you, and then you go and you set up a table and you put your publications and your products, whatever it is that you have, and then you sell them. These are products at low prices, they're not, you're not going to be selling anything at $300 or $1,000, But there's a lot of artists there from every single walk of life you can think of, and you get to meet them, and I've made great friends there. And
Right.
sometimes through social media, we exchange ideas
Yep.
or suppliers or whatever, and that's what I do.
So trade events. Trade events are a great place. Juliana, how do you find community?
I went to school, and that's where I found most of my friends, or like artist friends, you know, your teachers or your mentors. Eventually, if they see you participating, they kind of end up becoming your peers. Another thing too is just like, you know, if you want to be a part of the world, you kind of have to participate. Doesn't matter how bad you think it is. You know, like for me, I know what I like, painting and drawing. There's a painting and drawing show and everyone's talking about it. I'm like, I have to go see it. I need to see what's up. I need to say if I like it, why I like it. If I don't like it, why I don't like it. I need to just, like actively be part of that conversation.
Right.
And yeah.
Jesse?
Actually, I haven't. I haven't found. I don't know anybody.
Well, this is it.
Exactly.
This is
exactly.
you found
So
it right
this is
here.
Great, and so I'm really listening. Everybody saying, okay, wow.
Is that important to you, do you think?
Yeah,
To
I-
find collegiality with
Yes,
other artists? Yeah.
I love to see other artists. So, I try to go to gallery show every weekends and to see, can we make friends?
No.
Yeah, so this is great.
Yeah. Cheyenne, what kinds of things does ArtShare do to help bring artists together?
Nothing.
Thanks for the honesty.
I know, right? Our work is really done through our programs and
Yeah.
through our main gallery show. Our shows are all group shows, have anywhere between 10 and 15 artists in them. We have art studio spaces here where artists are able to kind of commingle. And then the apartments upstairs, that's 30 people that are constantly kind of sharing their creative ideas with each other. I think the beauty of ArtShare is the more that you put into it, the more you get out of it.
Yes.
So the more you're here, the more you come to shows, the more you're talking to artists, the more kind of that synergy is created. And I think painting and drawing specifically, and anything visual, it's a very internal process. And so I think even the most introverted person is looking for someone to talk
Yes.
to about it. And so what we do at all of our gallery shows and openings is all the artists have a name tag that either says I'm an artist, or it says their name and that they're an artist. And so that just kind of helps to grease the wheels a little bit for that social engagement.
Do the buyers have a I'm a buyer
Yeah.
tag so
Yeah.
that they can connect?
I
Yeah.
spot them for
Oh,
you
okay,
guys,
good,
don't
good.
worry. And then a lot of amazing things just happen organically. And if I see that the connection needs to be made,
Yes.
there's a gentleman, Parker Winan, who's doing curating a show at Angel City Brewery, and he does a lot of pen ink drawings.
Yep.
And so I connected him with Timothy Melgoza, who has a similar aesthetic. And, so we'll make those individual connections. But the more time we get to spend with you guys and hear what you're looking for, the more we can
Yeah.
kind of grease those wheels for sure.
I know some artists find community through giving back and mentoring younger kids and trying to, have you guys worked with mentees at all in terms of youth programs or
On
anything like
Saturdays,
that?
I'm the art teacher.
Say again?
On Saturdays, I'm the art teacher.
That's amazing. Where at?
It's like a little daycare in Monterey Park by where I live. I teach 2 classes. So I just come in on Saturdays because on Saturdays is when they get their art class. I have 2 classes. The first class is the advanced drawing class or the advanced art class. And those are kids anywhere between like 9 to 13 years old. So, and then the second class, that one's the cute one. That one's like the baby, they call it the baby class. So then it's like 3-year-olds to like 6-year-old kids
So fun.
every Saturday.
I know it's hard sometimes given just the constraints of time and resources. I mean, we're all so damn busy. It's hard to find time to give back and to do the things that, maybe are sort of outside of our day-to-day. What are some of the struggles that you guys have in terms of managing your time and finding the spaces that you need to feed your soul?
You kind of just revolve your life around it. I do. I know where I can and can't work, you know, in terms of distance. My studio is here. I will not work more than blah, 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 X amount of distance from my studio. And then this is like timing too. Like I will not work at a place that will have me working like 12, 14-hour shifts. I don't think so. I'm sorry. I'd rather be poor than be going crazy or something. It's cool. I've been poor all my life. And then, yeah, this is like little things. And it's funny because I think when I first started doing this or like trying to live as an artist, I saw it a lot as like sacrifices. Like I'm sacrificing a brand new car. I'm sacrificing an apartment. I'm sacrificing a trip to Europe. And then at the same time, I've realized that if I'm not working like something for myself, which is like a painting or a drawing, no matter how stupid it is, like I'm in such a bad mood. Like it's not healthy for me anyways, because it's just become an integral part, you know? It's kind of like, like my little way of like praying every night or something like that. But yeah.
Marguerite, how do you take care of yourself?
I don't.
Honest answer. Most of us
I
don't.
have 2 cats. And they
You have cats?
Yeah, I take care of them, and I feel good about
Do they
myself.
walk on your back and give you cat massages?
Yeah. I kind of make sure that no work happens on Saturday and Sunday, but sometimes I let that slide. And usually I'm binging on videos and drawing, I guess, plotting.
I love it.
So we have a show coming up Saturday, the Not Real Art exhibition. How are you guys feeling about the show?
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is the first time I invite people to.
First time you
Yes.
invited people.
Yeah.
This is a
To any
milestone
show.
moment.
I'm so proud of
Yeah,
you. And
yeah.
this is a new body of work for you, Monica.
Yes, it's the first time I show this work in the way that I wanted to show it. So, and the grant was key player into having that done.
Great.
Yeah.
This is like a big. Oh, well, thank you for promoting the show.
Yes.
Yeah. I think our turnout's going to be good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do too. I think Monica's work, so she's hung with us before and she showed a series of Loteria cards, but with a little flair to them, a little kind of tongue-in-cheek feminist hit to all of them. I love them. I'm a huge fan of them. And then this one, I remember you emailed me and you said, it's too hard to explain. Here are some images.
Yeah.
They won't help either, but can you trust me? And I remember I forwarded it to the gallery person. I said, we got to trust Monica.
Right.
She had such beautiful craftsmanship to those Loteria cards that I knew that I'm excited
Thank
to
you.
see this work. You have such a refined touch to everything you do.
Thank you very much.
Can you describe the work a little bit?
When I did the Loteria cards, those were, I used the same cards from the game to rearrange the meaning for them, and so I was cutting each character in each card and then combining them to create new meanings, new cards. For this work that I have now, I've been photographing goats and sheep all over California and abandoned places, homes, cars, abandoned objects. And so I'm doing sort of like the same type of cutting and pasting, just digitally.
That's great.
And there's a lot of, it seems like it's a very different medium, but when it comes to detail, it's very similar. The way you're cutting and the way you're paying attention to every single border and everything so that the images look realistic.
But it's not collage. You're actually building on top. It becomes a dimensional object.
Yeah, well, they are built in layers digitally. Yes.
So excited to see them.
Yes, thank you.
Jesse?
Yes.
Tell us about your work that's going to show Saturday night.
Yes, I have, like I said, I don't have any style, fixed style. So I have some abstract, some digital based on like somebody's face. I played around.
Is that digital?
That's digital?
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, yes. So I don't know how, I couldn't decide which one is, appealing to the audience or, so I just throw everything. Yeah.
I think it'll be good for you, Jesse, to see how people are responding to your work. It might help. And even, talk to your colleagues that are hanging with you.
Yeah.
They might have some comments or.
Well, but
support
that
for you.
raises such an interesting point. I want to ask all you, like, in terms of that voice inside and choosing the pieces, are you trying to be strategic and be a mind reader and say, okay, I think this piece is going to resonate with the audience the most? Or do you say, to hell with that, this is the piece that I love, this is the piece that I want to show because I'm most proud of this piece, who gives a shit what anybody thinks? Or is it some combination? I don't know.
I started thinking more about, like strategically, like, okay, what do I think? And then in the end, I was like, you know what, these are the ones that I like.
Yes,
So I
yes.
sent an email and I was like, can I change them? And they said yes. So I in the end, I put exactly what I wanted.
Yes.
Yeah, because you never know when you're going to have another opportunity. So you might as well just do what you want to do if you can in the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, I just think of presentation, kind of like how do I want to present myself to these people? Like what do I want them to take out of this? And it's kind of like you kind of have to have some sense of pride to it, you
Right.
know? So then you're not really thinking like what do they like, or
Yeah.
you're not really thinking this one is my favorite one, because I can tell you right now I have like those couple of like pieces that I'm like I love it, but no one's ever gonna see it. Like,
So, and Marguerite, I mean, you can weigh in here. Like, I'm curious, to what extent does story and the idea of story play into your work? Like, the story you're trying to tell, do you think of your work in terms of story?
Well, it's like the piece is like an accumulation of several different stories. You could just look at like the historical period in which the piece was made, or like what artists or like subject matter I'm referencing, so it's kind of a grouping. It doesn't really have its own, my work in the show doesn't really have its own singular story. It's kind of, I'm referencing like cell animation and its demise, but I'm also kind of in discussion with going on supply runs and going to the plastic store and what can I find at the plastic store? So
Her work is wacky. Can I just say that? Like, I've never seen anything like it. Is it acrylic created on film, on plastic clear film, and in image? And I please correct me, but in an image, you're like, is that cellophane? Is that a fruit roll up? Can I peel that off of the cellophane?
Right.
Like, and then it looks thick, and it looks like there's not anger, but just like swirl of emotion and color in there, and there's no figurative narrative to it. It's just, but it's so cool. I love the application of it.
All right, well, I mean, the pressure's on now.
It's just there.
And then she also, a dimension, it's coming off the wall, and then
Right,
she'll
right.
create the different cellophane layers to give it that kind of diorama, come on into the painting.
Sounds like a piece that my 2-year-old son would be like, look at this.
Yeah. Can I eat it?
You broke it, you buy it.
Yeah.
But I have
Let's
no
hope
money.
he does. Let's hope he breaks it.
That's my goal audience, I think, 2-year-old children.
Yeah, right. Hey, that's a good audience,
It
right?
is.
If you get the 2-year-old crowd, the 2-year-old market,
They laugh, they cry, they get angry, and you don't know what exactly caused it.
it's pure emotion.
Yeah.
It's
They're in
pure
between
emotion.
diaper and underwear. Like,
Yeah.
that's confusing.
It is.
Juliana, what about story in your work?
I think of, I was listening to a podcast, and it was a painter I really admire, Kim Dorland. And I think he finally was able to summarize it into one word, like it's about intent.
Intent.
Yeah, rather than story. Like, what am I intending to do here? And then that's where I kind of start off, and then I go off in my own world.
do you find that there is a common theme inside your intention, or would you say your work and your works have sort of unique intention unto themselves?
It's like both.
Yeah.
They each have like their own little thing going on, but most definitely it's like the urban landscape.
Yeah.
That's like, I grew up here in East LA, Boyle Heights, downtown. My studio is like on 4th Street.
Right.
So like, I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's like a legit infatuation with like buildings and structures and all of that good stuff.
There's a sense of chaos in your work that I've just always loved. Like she'll create the architectural urban landscape and those lines, that the horizon line that you expect with the trees and the palm trees. And then all of a sudden on the left, there's this chaos going on in abstract. What are you trying to marry in that narrative versus abstract?
Myself. Well, like, it's kind of like, you know, it's the history of painting. I'm kind of like a big nerd about it. That's what I want to do. I want to be like a master painter, a master printmaker, as old school as that sounds. And then, you know, you think of all these styles and you study them. You go to school, but then you also have the stuff you find out about on your own, you know? Like you have your anime, your cartoons, you have your TV, you have your siblings, you have your friends that also show you all these other things. And then you have the things that you learned at school, you know, like how to blend how to combine the perfect colors together, that push and pull, that Hans Hofmann, all that like refinement, you know, like history. So then that's where all of that comes from, where I'm just kind of like, where is this like flow? How can I unite these worlds and not make them look separate, not make one look better than the other one, just like really just like, marry the both of them, just like in unison.
I love that. Yeah, it definitely comes through. The piece that you did in the last show with the drag queen.
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, that wasn't you. So sorry. Well, it screamed you, and I should introduce you to each other because
I know who she is. We went to the same school,
Oh.
same program.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't say her name. Screw her. But no, the chaos inside of reality. I feel like that we're all trying to balance that. It's great. I do have one last question, just for me. Culture, diversity, your backgrounds. How much of that lens comes through in your work? How much do you carry from it and bring that forward into what you're doing, and how much, or is it muted?
I try not to think about it, because if I think about it, it's gonna come off as like some superficial thing.
Like a forced.
So it's just kind of like, if it comes out, it just comes out, you know, like when you're talking and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, and you're like, oh fuck, I just swear, like, you know, just like, let it flow out naturally, don't force it. Don't try to hide it either, just like, let it happen.
Thanks. Jesse?
Yes, I think in Japanese culture, especially where I come from, I have to be quiet, I have to be in the box. So when I came here and I start, you know, what I do right now, finally I feel, oh, okay, this makes sense. No wonder I didn't fit in over there. So that's maybe, so now, yeah.
That
Does that
connects
make
to the screaming face that you're showing at
yeah.
Gabriel
Yeah,
Art.
yeah.
It's a beautiful face that's just screaming with so much emotion. I'm excited to see it. Marguerite?
So I am fourth generation Japanese American, and then my father is from Iran. So in both cases, my mom is just like crazy about, like, she has like the wackiest sense of pop culture humor. And I associate her more with like being a Bay Area person. And my dad, you know, he came over here with visions of Mighty Mouse and soccer. So he's not like, he's pretty cartoony too, and he came by himself. And he's definitely more Californian than Iranian, I'd say.
Cute.
And so my work, you know, it's a nod to both those cultures, but at the same time, it's like in a weird, sad exile state because I don't speak either of those languages, and I am not recognized by either of those cultures as being of that. So, yeah. So I like the media.
Yeah. Thanks, Marguerite.
Identity was something that I never thought about in my life, and I moved here, well, into adulthood. So I don't think about it. I don't think about the fact that I'm Mexican or too much anyway. But when I got here, I realized that that was a thing. It's like, you know, who are you, where you come from, and what do you stand for, and all those things. So I don't think about it when I'm doing the artwork. I think it comes through sometimes. I do use the Virgen de Guadalupe in my images. That is an icon that when I moved here and I would see it on buildings, it would just grab me. It was like, okay, this is home. This is home. Every time I saw it, this is home. Wow. So I think that's why I include it, even though I'm not religious or anything like that. But the other part of me that has to do with my background that I think comes through is the magical realism. And that I just realized that recently when I saw a movie called Tigers Are Not Afraid, I think that's the title, and it's all magical realism, and I realized that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's a Mexican movie, so I think that's the way it comes through. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, Juliana, Marguerite, Monica, Jesse, thank you so much for hanging out with Cheyenne and I today, talking about our common love for arts and the excitement that we have for Saturday's show.
Thank you.
And it's going to be fantastic. Yeah. And please come back. Will you come back?
Yeah.
Because now you're part of the Not Real Art family. And I'm sort of debating, like, do the winners from year one become the judges for year two? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of interesting, different ideas.
that.
Do you guys want to judge? You want to judge?
Of course.
You want to?
I'll take the names
I've been
off.
getting
It
judged.
have to be a silent or
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. We'll
Secret,
figure all that
yeah.
out. But well, see you on Saturday.
Thank
Yeah.
you. See you.
Cheers.
Ladies.
Excellent.